Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, meathead. They come from big corporations don't triple your salary in mid-year and then make it retroactive. They were falling back. Their default was to screw down the junior partners of the various partnerships they came from. So, I mean, the first deal, and then you've all heard managing the people is a bitch. But the other thing they haven't focused on as much as managing the fucking board's a bitch. And that's why it's really, I can't overemphasize how important it is that you have this chairperson or chairpersonette or whatever he, she, or it is, backing you up. A lot of the kids say, I've got your six, or I've got your back. Is that what they say? You don't know what the fuck that means. Somebody better have your fucking back on this deal. And I like it to be one person, and a brutal person, a bully. That's my management style, and I know it works. You don't have to think, or what is Mr. Peña really saying? I've never been accused of, what is Dan really saying, And you need somebody like that. It's a requirement. Yes, ma'am.
As a woman, should I have a woman or a man for a chairman?
You mean as a lifetime partner, or are you talking about?
Is it better to have a woman?
Another deal, I'm chairman of 3 deals in Canada, 2 in addition to Thomas. And one of the additions, they brought me in and they threw off a woman chairman. And who was in 1996 or 1990 or something like that. She was Businesswoman of the Year in Canada. Wallflower for sure. But you want somebody that you absolutely, as much as you know, and there's nothing 100%, that this man or woman or it is going to back you up and tell the truth. A lot of the boards, nobody wants to, when I canceled this board meeting I told you about, a week ago or 10 days ago, whenever I canceled it, and then the board members who came back to you and said, well, glad you did that. We didn't feel comfortable. We were going to have to abstain. I told you this story. Well, since we don't have any abstaining votes, the board meeting would have come to a halt right there, and we would have reorganized, stopped taking minutes after everybody decided to vote in favor. So, and there's not many pushy women like that. I'm not saying they don't exist, but you would call her in modern day a pushy bully. Now, you hear about a lot of people getting in trouble for being a bully, but you want a pushy woman if you're going to choose someone like that. I think that the team of a young girl and an older guy that has been through the ringer is a better one. Although I've seen women CEOs, and not CEOs, but women founders and women chairmen. But it's, it's the interviewing process will filter out a lot of the things you don't have to worry about. There's some people that aren't going to want to be on a board with a young woman. Okay? There's some people that don't want to be on a board that's with a woman chairman. That's, they don't tell you that. But remember, you're leveraging off the profile of the woman with the executive summary. So to hire everybody else, they're going to see who's running the business, and they're going to say a gal, and it's not going to be any junior gal. It's going to be a senior gal, 55, 60, 65, 70, and so they'll decide. Some guys, won't report to a woman. In 2022, that's just the way it is. I'm not, I used to say when I was your kid's age, I could report to 3 women. Joan of Arc, Maggie Thatcher, and Golda Meir. Golda Meir was the Prime Minister of Israel. Joan of Arc, at 14, led the French to conquer the English in war, and Maggie Thatcher. Now I've dealt with many more senior, very capable. There's a lot of capable gals out there. Some of which I've been calling gals, by the way. But it depends. It depends. A woman may not want to be your chairperson. For another woman, I mean. You don't know. You don't know what their experience is. But you get a 60-year-old woman, 65-year-old woman, even though I don't believe in the glass ceiling, I mean, she had a tough time in business. There's no question about that. Because she came up the ranks when, swatting the girl in the ass was still okay. Just as I did. It's not okay anymore. But she's got her own war stories. And she may think that that's great. I can be your front person. But she may not. But whoever's the chairperson, they got to be all in. No, I want to be a grandmother to bounce my grandkids on the fucking, none of that shit. I mean, we don't have time for that stuff. We don't. I mean, if you want to get from A to B as fast as humanly possible. As fast as humanly possible. But there's a plethora, there's a bunch of people that are qualified to be your board members. Believe me, they're up. And a majority of them are on LinkedIn and other resources. And you're going to California, and I mean, there's a shitload of them. Now, some of them out in California, they've been out, their brains have gotten baked by the sun too much. Okay? Because there's a lot of liberal management out there. And a lot of it comes from entertainment, the news, etc. But there's some very capable people out there. Of course, that's where Charlie the Munger lives, amongst others. But there are capable people. And don't pick one so quickly just because they say yes. But the important point, I can make you the largest shareholder. But I can't make them follow you. The boards govern, you lead. And for the younger kids that have zero leadership experience or next to zero leadership experience, it's hard to learn. And you don't learn it overnight. You don't. Unfortunately, you got to get your face pushed in a few times. Not dissimilar to their older brothers, significant other that had trouble with his CEO. And I smelled it in not 10 seconds. That'd be a lie. 30 seconds. 5 months later, they ousted him. I actually knew in 1 second. 1 second. But you've been raised to give people the benefit of the doubt. Everybody in this room. In my world, you don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. Ben Carson, I would. Ben, if you listen to this, I know you're conflicted up the ass, but I mean, I got a place for you, boy. And I don't mean boy in the derogatory because he's black. I got a place for you, Ben. I hope this gets to you. You don't want to do business with these shitheads, believe me. I got just the right position for you. But unless you got somebody like that, it's still a crapshoot. But when you ask them, is there anything in your background, sir? Is there anything in your background, madam, that would preclude us from getting financing down the road? And when they go like this, you already got the answer. How recent? Next. And the kids find these guys and gals that look perfect on paper, just like a business plan. But there's something, because they don't put that they got arrested for being a pedophile. They weren't convicted on their fucking LinkedIn. Anything sexually oriented like that, I mean, don't even get in the same building. I won't get in an elevator with a woman unless my wife's with me. Because not all elevators have cameras. That's where I'm in life. You should aspire to be that famous and that rich. But it's a different world now. It's a different world. So an old man like me can't go in an elevator if there's a gal in there. That's not right. I have my rights. God damn it. Who's my 5:30? 6:30. Other questions? Okay, go ahead.
He's going to do IPO. Do we just do PE first and then later on IPO?
No, he also said, we'll let the market tell us what we're going to do. But his goal was 100 roll-ups. That was a year and a half ago, so he's now increased it to 150 roll-ups. And we'd be right at the bottom end, because I'll say it tomorrow, but doing an IPO on the, I'm making a big exaggeration, on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, as opposed to the New York Stock Exchange, there's no comparison. There's 4 or 5 major exchanges that are worth being public on. London, full listing, because there's variations of what kind of listing you get. London, New York, Amex, or NASDAQ, excuse me, Tokyo, Munich, and that's about it. Maybe the Netherlands, if you're in the EU. That's it. All the other exchanges are a hand job. And they're a hand job because there's no liquidity. If you're public on the Saudi Stock Exchange, so what? Unless your name is Saud, you're dead meat. If you're public on the Venezuela, and that's a stretch, nobody go public, so what? So you want where there's massive tens of millions of shares, even billions of shares traded, because you want liquidity. And the gilt edge panacea, or the be-all, end-all, all your dreams come true, is not going public. Because I told you, 1, you can't sell your stock when you want to. Probably in the initial public offering, they're not going to let any founders sell stock. Now, I'm going to say it again. At the initial public offering, they're not going to let Sweet Pea sell any of her fucking stock. None of the directors, because that's a sign of bad faith. Why do they want us to sell our stock if this is the beginning of the next world? Because you want to put money in your fucking pockets. And the investors and the shareholders don't understand that. They want you to stay there forever while they trade your stock. And some bag of bones like this is trading your fucking shit and driving the value down. But tomorrow, when we're not on camera, I'm going to show you how you can still sell stock even when they don't want you. This is the secret sauce, YouTube. This is why these guys pay, they think, the big money. And I am going to tell you. Because I got an answer for everything. And that's really the value of coming here. Please don't call me, don't email me, don't write me, But IPO, whether we do that or not, I like a strategic buyer to buy me, because then I'm out of my stock 100%. I run like a thief in the fucking night. All my money. Boom. At once. Don't worry about my taxes. Thank you very much. I'll pay taxes. Because then they tell you some lie. Well, we'll pay you 20% now, and then you're going to save taxes. No, you're not saving taxes. You're just spreading the tax burden out over some years. I'll pay all the taxes tonight, And so but a strategic buyer is better, because they may not give you the 22 times EBITDA, and they only give you 17, but you get all your money now. Now, I'm not going to go through the exercise present value money and all that shit, because that's not what this model is. But the present value is higher than 5 years from now. But Andres, I'm sure, I told you he got Healthcare Executive of the Year or some shit like that. I don't mean it, Andres, like it's shit, but I'm proud of you. But he's Healthcare Executive of the Year for under 40, which is a big deal. Which doesn't surprise me. Nobody manages these things even 50% as good as Andres does. 50%. And we haven't had to hire a CEO because he's become a very polished, accomplished CEO in the 2.5, 3 years that he's been doing this. But I mean, but there is some panache about being a public CEO of a public company, which I enjoyed. A strategic buyer is better than an IPO for a lot of reasons, not the least of which you're not going to get any money out of an IPO. Now, the directors that are 65 and older, and I'll close it on this, have extra benefits, not the kind of extra benefits I was talking about earlier, because they are deemed that, well, we can't keep a 65-year-old man or woman's money from him. He's retired. And at 77, and one of my favorite directors in one of my companies is 86, we should get 100% of our money on day one, even on an IPO. Because what are they going to make us wait? 5, 10 years or 3 years? I mean, even though he's healthy, he may die. And even though I'm healthy, I may die. So the senior guys will be able to get their money out and you won't. Okay, kids, I'll see you at 5:30 in a few minutes. You've got your goals tonight. There's going to be another movie. We didn't talk about Balmer. We're going to talk about him tomorrow. I haven't forgotten about Balmer. Who was an alpha male, who didn't understand the product, but he was a world-class salesman. That's what I want you to be. Not necessarily an alpha male, but don't understand the product, but be an world-class salesman, and you'll make a ton of money. Okay, kids, we'll see you later.